Well, before I begin my homily this morning, I want to tell you, I'm going to ask you to please keep Father Bill Sinatra in your prayers. He fell and broke his hip. And I think his surgery is later today or it's tomorrow. I've heard two different reports. But keep him in your prayers. He's going to have, his recovery is going to take a while. So meanwhile, I'll be doing all the masses. So you're stuck with me. So please don't leave the parish. Father Bill will be coming back, So I'm just letting you know. So keep him in your prayers. And my surgery is scheduled for 3 weeks from tomorrow. That can't come soon enough. And then we'll take care of this hernia. And in the meantime, I'm going to have people subbing for me because it's the standing that gets to me. So I'm going to have someone helping me out, taking my spot in communion until we get through these weeks. But sooner we'll be here. But most importantly, pray for Father Sinatra. I appreciate that. Okay. A number of years ago, I made a trip to Peru. Peru is a fascinating country. Lima, right on the coast, has many interesting things to see. I went to see the shrine of St. Martin de Porres and St. Rose, and it was of Lima. I love those very much. I got to go in a little plane and fly over the Nazca lines, the famous lines painted in the desert that you can only see from way up, that people think the Indians painted them. It has something to do with aliens. I don't know. See the last Indiana Jones movie, they talk about those lines a lot. They were interesting. But my favorite spot was going to see Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu, way up in the Andes Mountains. It's a fascinating place. It truly is probably the most beautiful place I've ever visited. Up there on this mountain, beautiful rainforest below, river roaring down there. And it's amazing when you look about how in the world the Incas constructed this thing, without horses or oxen or anything that at least the Egyptians had when they built the pyramids. The Incas, all they had were llamas. They did most of this all by hand. It's really quite an amazing feat to see. And if you ever decide to go there, and you decide to take the walk through Machu Picchu, I'm just going to clue you in about the walk. It's all layered like a wedding cake, tiers up and down the sides of this mountain. And so when you're walking along the path, it's like you're walking on a path not much wider than this step. And on one side here is the stone wall that goes up to the next tier, and down there is the tier a good 10 to 15 feet below you. And you're walking along and you realize there's no handrail, there's no guard, there's nothing. So while you're trying to enjoy the beauty around you, you end up spending an awful lot of time watching your feet and making sure you don't fall. And it's just one path through, and there's people behind you. You can't turn around and go back. There's no way to get around. So once you're walking, you're committed. You have to make the trip. So that and not being very fond of heights, even though I am 6'5", I have to tell you that it's challenging to take that walk. And yet, in today's opening prayer for today's Mass, we said this as we prayed, "Dear Lord, grant, we pray, that we may hasten without stumbling to receive the things you have promised." To receive without stumbling the things that you have promised. And it reminds us that our life is a journey like that. It's like a path like that. We start our journey in life and there's no going back. I mean, I have looked at pictures of myself when I was much younger and I wish I could have gone back, but I can't. I know you can't turn around. You have to go forward. But the good news is that the Lord will walk on that path with us. He will. And when we make mistakes and when we do things we shouldn't do, He's there to help us. He's there to forgive us. And He's there to give us the grace to keep on going down that path of life. And as beautiful as Machu Picchu is, it's just a very pale foretaste of where our lifetime journey ends up, which is, of course, the heavenly kingdom.